Multi-passionate creatives, we all have shame and trauma. This is how you can transform your shame and trauma into your creative purpose without niching down. This is the wounded healer archetype. And this is taking something very negative, your shame and your trauma, turning it into a positive tool to help others feel seen and heard, because they make you feel seen and heard, and this helps you process your emotions, heal your trauma, but it also can blow up your career, as we will see from these 6 multi-passionate creators. So Maya Angelou, most people know her story, but if you don't, she was SA'd at 5 years old and hospitalized. I mean, obviously a highly traumatic experience, so much so that she went self-mute for 5 years. She didn't speak for 5 years. She never told this story until she releases her memoir, age 41, which instantly becomes a bestseller because of the content, because of her shame, because of her vulnerability. And what happens is she helps millions of other women feel seen and heard, which makes her feel seen and heard. So she takes something that's very negative, turns it into positive, and this blows up her careers, and then she becomes one of the most famous poets in American history. John Lennon, both his parents abandoned him at different times, so he grew up feeling very insecure, angry, with abandonment issues, not feeling good enough, etc., etc. And he used this, he processed this through the lyrics, both with the Beatles and as a solo artist. And that's how he helped process his emotions, and he helped connect people through his shame. Okay, Elizabeth Gilbert did many, many jobs. She always wanted to be a writer, but nothing really worked for her until she wrote her memoir, Eat, Pray, Love, where she talks about the shame and vulnerability of her divorce. Now, again, this sells millions of copies because of the way that she processes and distills the emotions and the shame that she felt during this relationship and the divorce, right? This then is, because it sells so many books, it gets turned into a movie, and Julia Roberts plays Elizabeth Gilbert in the movie. How cool is that? Rick Rubin's a really interesting one. Rick Rubin is one of the most commercially successful producers in the history of music. Right? But he doesn't know how to operate a studio mixing desk. He doesn't know how to play any instruments. He is an anomaly, right? Now, he used to feel a lot of shame and insecurity about this, right? He used to try and hide this fact. However, over a period of time, he started to lean into it. And this is where his creative genius came to the fore. His creative genius is not about perfection. It's not about using a mixing desk. His creative genius is helping artists, giving them a space to feel vulnerable and feel safe to tell their truth. He says it's not about perfectionism, right? Which is what most producers go for. He goes for the truth, the raw truth, the honest truth, which is messy. Okay, so it's not about perfection for him. He also has the ability to be able to take 2 different genres and put them together to create new genres. And that's his idea synthesis. That's multipotentiality. That's his multi-passionate nature. So if you look at the Beastie Boys, that's punk rock plus hip hop together, Beastie Boys, right? That's niching up, okay? Then if you look at Walk This Way, which is a global smash, that's Aerosmith, rock, Run DMC, hip hop together to create a new sound. That's niching up. Then he takes Johnny Cash and he takes Nine Inch Nails, 2 completely different genres of music, puts them together in terms of a cover, and it's probably one of the best covers ever made. It's like incredible, right? And this is Rick Rubin's genius. Glennon Doyle has sold millions and millions of books. She was a 3rd grade school teacher, completely broken. She was an alcoholic, bulimic. She becomes pregnant. She writes a blog post about being an alcoholic and pregnant, being very vulnerable, talking about her shame, which goes viral. She gets a literary agent, and then she writes a couple of best-selling books, but very much about Christian values, about Christian wives, all that kind of thing. Then, when she's promoting the 2nd book, she meets a female soccer star, falls in love, and the next book, Untamed, is talking about her removing all the personas and the conventional norms which weren't her, because she becomes a queer activist. And it's about her process, that reinvention arc. So not only about becoming her true self, but also exploring her true sexuality. And it's just an incredible story. And then you have Brené Brown, who of course is the world's leading researcher about shame, and the shame, ironically, she experiences because she goes on, does a little TEDx talk, it becomes popular, TEDx put it onto their main YouTube channel, obviously gets a lot more eyeballs, it really connects, and it goes super viral, gets millions and millions of views. However, she experiences a vulnerability hangover because she's been very vulnerable in it. She feels a lot of shame, which is kind of ironic. But of course, this catapults her career, and she's now sold millions and millions of books. So all these creators here are wounded healer archetypes, and they've used their shame as a tool to help others feel seen and heard, making them feel seen and heard, but also to explode their careers in a real big way. Now, all of them would have felt like you. They would have felt, oh my God, if I share all this shame with other people, they're going to reject me, they're going to think less of me, all these kind of things. Because we think, and this is the dirty power of shame, is we think the shame is just us, but it's not. We all experience shame, and by using that as a tool and turning it into something positive through your creativity, you can empower potentially millions of other people. And that's the most beautiful thing you can do with shame and trauma. So here's 5 ways to be able to do that, right? You have to name the shame. Shame hates having words wrapped around it, Brené Bird. So that's it. So what is the shame you're experiencing? How can you share that with people? Is it through the lyrics of a song? Is it through painting? Is it through poetry? Is it through YouTube videos? Is it through fiction? Is it through screenplays? Is it through screenwriting? Whatever it might be. Is it through blogs, Substacks, TikTok videos? Whatever it might be, how can you take your shame and use it as a tool to help others feel seen and heard, which makes you feel seen and heard, and then to build an audience based on empowering other people, right? How can you have to create from the wound, not the scar. There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Maya Angelou, right? So this is it. We all have a story inside of us. We have a song inside of us. The trick is not to go to our grave with that song still in us, because that's what shame is. And it will fester and it will rot away inside of you, and it will keep you small. So this is what you have to do. You have to create from the wound. Talk about the emotion. Talk about the limiting beliefs. Talk about the vulnerability. Talk about how it just kicked the ass out of you. Talk about all these things in a very honest and vulnerable manner, and it will help others feel empowered and feel seen. Say it before you perfect it. Art is confession. Art is the secret tool. John Lennon. Let go of the role you're performing. We've all got roles that we perform to. The good wife, the good mother, the good provider. We've all have these kind of societal roles. Glennon Doyle talks about being your goddamn cheetah, and that is a metaphor, reference to when they were at the zoo. There's a cheetah which has been trained to chase a pink fluffy rabbit toy tied to a jeep, and she uses that as a metaphor as a human experience. We've been trained to chase approval, to chase people pleasing, to chase all these different things that just don't matter, right? And then it's turn your shame into a tool for others, right? Your story is the most powerful thing you own. Within you, and the same with all these other creators here, you don't think your story is good enough, or that people are interested in it, or maybe you think, it's too shameful, or that people can reject you, whatever it might be. That's just not true. It's a limiting belief. By sharing your story, it's the most important thing you can do as a creative person, and it's all part of the wounded healer archetype. So I hope this helps. I hope you share your shame. I hope you can help others, connect with others, and help them feel seen and heard, and then you can feel seen and heard. And I hope it explodes your career in whichever creative medium that you want to do. So I hope this helps. Peace out.